I lost 20 pounds, but my DEXA scan exposed something that most people never even think about. Out of the 20 pounds that I lost, 15 were fat, 5 were muscle. And honestly, I am content with that. I'm pretty happy with that because the reality is when you're losing fat, you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit. So some muscle loss is going to be inevitable, but the goal really is to just keep muscle loss to a minimal and make sure that the majority of your weight loss is actually from fat. And I did that. But that's not exactly what I wanted to talk about today. What really stood out from getting my second DEXA scan was the conversation I had with the woman who was conducting the scan. Because what we talked about was literally everything I preach, everything my brand is built on. We talked about lifting over cardio, lifting for longevity, lifting for injury prevention, lifting to get back from injuries, lifting to build the kind of strength that actually matters in real life, not just in the gym, and lifting to get rid of knee pain so you can live your life without your knees telling you what you can and can't do. So, as you can see, this is not just about weight loss, it's all about making your body stronger, making your body more resilient, and actually built to last. And ironically, the whole conversation with the lady was about how so many people neglect all of these things because they're chasing one thing and one thing only, and that one thing is weight loss. They're chasing it at the expense of their muscle mass, they're chasing it at the expense of their strength, and most importantly, they're chasing it at the expense of their future health. So the woman basically told me how often people come in for baseline DEXA scans and then they hop on Ozempic and then they lose weight fast and then they come back for their follow-up in about 6 to 8 weeks raving about how much weight they lost. So they do the repeat DEXA scan for the second time around to compare where they are now to where they were the first time, and they find out that their muscle mass dropped and their body fat percentage went up. And this is the part that nobody talks about when it comes to weight loss, because the scale can go down, but your health could actually get worse. And you're not going to realize that if you're only looking at the number and not what that number is consisting of. And the reason this happens is because people fall into one of 4 traps. So, first one is they're only doing cardio as exercise. Number 2 is they're only working on their nutrition, so they're improving their diet, which is not a bad thing. And number 3, they're doing both, so they're either doing only cardio as exercise and fixing their diet, or they're doing none of the above and they're relying completely on Ozempic for weight loss. And here's what people don't realize about these 4 things. Cardio is going to burn calories and it's going to help improve your heart health, which is a great thing. There's nothing wrong with doing that, right? But it doesn't build or preserve muscle. Eating better, improving your diet, improving your nutritional habits is great, but nutrition alone, yes, it's going to help you lose weight, but it's not going to stop you from losing muscle mass as you lose the weight. And then when it comes to Ozempic, it absolutely has weight loss benefits, but if it's not combined with actual lifestyle changes like establishing a structured training routine, eating enough to fuel your body, moving more each day, you're just going to become a smaller, weaker version of yourself with a slower metabolism and less strength to support you in your day-to-day life, which is not a good thing. Nobody wants that. Let's be real. Nobody wants that. And I know some of you guys may be thinking, I don't want to get bulky. I don't want to build a lot of muscle. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I just want to lose weight. I just want to get to this weight on the scale. But let's be real, right? When you say you want to lose weight, what do you actually mean? What do you want to lose? When most people say they want to lose weight, they're actually referring to losing fat, right? Because if it was just about losing weight, if it was just about decreasing the number on the scale, you could go and cut your leg off and call it a win because you'll lose weight. But nobody's going to do that, right? So let's stop pretending that the scale going down always means that we're moving in the right direction, always means that we're making progress, especially when the process you're following to get the number to go down isn't healthy, is not sustainable, and it's not good for your other health metrics. Because the reality is the scale doesn't tell you if you're losing fat, you're losing muscle, you're losing bone, you're losing water weight. You don't know. You just have that number, but you don't know what that number consists of. And those details of what that number consists of matters most. So you may be wondering what muscle has to do with anything, why I should keep harping on muscle, but you risk a lot when you lose muscle. When you lose muscle while you're losing weight, here's what's actually happening and what you're signing up for. You're signing up for a slower metabolism. So you're going to have to eat less just to maintain that weight that you see on the scale. But when you have muscle, you actually have to eat to fuel your muscle. And if you don't fuel your body correctly, you will lose that muscle mass. So by default, you can actually eat more and enjoy more food if you have more muscle. But if you don't have any muscle that you've maintained, when you do eat, that energy is just going to be turned into stored fat. And that's how people regain the weight. That's why when you look at studies that show people who do only cardio, only diet, compared with the people who do all three at once, the people who are doing all three at once have better long-term carryover of that weight loss because they actually did it in a way that is sustainable for their body and in a way that actually allows them to fuel their body without regaining that weight, right? So that's really important. That's key. You don't want to just lose weight for the summer and then when the winter comes, you're fat as fuck again. We don't want that, right? So that's one. And then also, you're going to have more weakness and fatigue during your life. So think of the things that you do without thought. Going to the mall, going upstairs, say the elevator is broke, you can take the stairs. The escalator moves too quick, so you're going to walk up the stairs. Getting out of your car. Me personally, I love cars. I like sporty cars. I like coupes. I like cars that are low to the floor. So I can get in and out of my car, no problem right now. And I want to be able to do that forever, right? But if I don't have muscle and I don't have strength, I'm not going to be able to do that. So those are things that I care about. And I'm sure you can think of things that you do without putting much thought into it in your day-to-day life that are really easy. But if you did not have muscle, if you did not have strength, you're not going to be able to do those things that are now simple are going to then feel hard. You're going to get tired quicker. You're going to take longer to recover. You're going to have a day out with your family and be on your feet for a while. Say you were preparing for Easter dinner today and you need 3 days to recover because it just beat your body up. Nobody wants to deal with that, especially not at a young age, right? You're going to have more aches, pains, and joint issues because you no longer have muscle that is built to support your joints. So now your knees hurt, your back hurts, your body feels stiff, your body feels 20 years older. You're not as strong, you're not as reliable, and deep down inside, you know that is not your age. And then this is something that people run into a lot. You end up getting a body that doesn't look the way you envisioned it would look when you hit that goal weight. So say your goal is to get back down to 145, right? Now you're at 145, but you just look like a smaller version of what you were at 165. You're not toned. You can't see your muscles. Your muscles still feel squishy. You're not any stronger. You're less energetic. And it's frustrating because you thought you were going to have a certain body when you got to that weight. But now you still don't have the body you want. And you're like, what the fuck? And let's be honest, nobody wants to look in the mirror and still feel frustrated about where they are when they expected a different outcome. That's really discouraging. And then you also don't want to move through your life with less strength because your muscles wasted away. You're going to notice that it's going to take a hit on everything you do. And then you also don't want to have more joint pain. You don't want to start to have joint pain. And people start to have pain when they don't prioritize keeping their muscles strong. That's when pain typically starts. And you also don't want to feel any older than you are and not be able to keep up with people who are either older than you but in better shape than you, or your kids that are younger than you, but you still want to be around and do things with them. But now you have to sit out and sideline yourself. You don't want to have to do that, right? You want to feel like you can keep up with the life you really want to live. You don't want to be faking like, oh, I don't care that I can't do that. Like you actually want to be able to perform these things. You want to feel confident, you want to feel strong, and you want to feel in control of your body. But if you're losing muscle, that's not going to happen. So if you're on a weight loss journey right now, these are 3 things that I want you to ask yourself. Am I protecting my muscle mass? Am I losing weight in a way that is sustainable? Like if I'm doing this in April of 2025, am I going to be able to still do this lifestyle in December, right? Am I still going to be able to do this lifestyle in X date in the future? Last thing, am I setting myself up for a strong future, or am I just setting myself up for a smaller body? Those are two different things, and you really have to prioritize your longevity and your stronger future, because a smaller body means nothing if you just lost a lot of muscle and it wasn't primarily fat, right? Because when that happens, when you lose fat or lose weight and it's mostly muscle, it's basically the equivalent of selling your house just to pay off your credit card debt. Like, you fixed one issue, maybe, but then you lost something that's way more valuable, and now you're back at square one, even more behind than you were to begin with. So if you want to lose weight, specifically fat, and change your body for the long run, improve your health, you need to do these three things. You need to, number one, strength train. And that means actually train, not just work out, not just pull up to the gym consistently, just to say you got there, walk on the treadmill, kick your leg back on the Stairmaster. You can do those things, but you also better have a structured training program, right? Not just there to show up and say, oh, I broke a sweat, or I did this, I did that. You actually want to put meaningful time in the gym. That's what's going to keep your bones strong, keep your strength up, and help you maintain or build muscle, whatever one you want. You have to be doing one of them. It's not none. You have to be doing one. Number two, nutrition that supports your muscle. Nutrition that's going to support your muscle is going to help you either build muscle, or when you're losing fat, keep that muscle so that the weight that you're actually losing is primarily fat. You want to make sure your nutrition supports your recovery and your performance, not just having nutrition that helps you see a lower weight on the scale at the expense of losing muscle mass. We don't want that. And then number three, a long-term plan. We want to have a plan that you can easily continue for the rest of your life, because sure, everybody wants a summer body. Everybody wants to be able to fit into a specific type of clothing, look a certain way. But at the end of the day, those things are very superficial, and it does not mean that you're going to be able to do that for the long run if your plan isn't set up to do that. So these are the three things that actually lead to better health, better function, and a better body that you are actually proud of. So if you're not sure where to start, I got you. Definitely hit the subscribe button and check out my coaching programs in the descriptions and in the comments. My programs are designed to help you build a strong, resilient body without spending your life in the gym, without endless hours of boring cardio, without sacrificing the muscle that's going to keep you healthy and strong for life. Because weight loss is all good, it's great, but it's not great if it costs you everything that actually matters. Peace.